Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, or afternoon, or maybe evening, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Mohammad Riovaldo Radja Nugroho. I am the student of Faculty of Medicine, Sultan Agung Islamic University, Indonesia. In this video, I will identify formula of title of a journal using SPICE and Consort checklist for abstract and full text of an article titled A Cluster Randomized Trial in General Practice with referral to a group-based or an internet-based smoking cessation program. This article will be reviewed based on Consort 2010 checklist. My presentation approximately will take about 15 minutes, but it could be more or less than that. To start with, I will identify the title with SPICE formula. Let's begin with S, which stands for settings. Setting refers to the situation in which the research takes place in. For this title, it is not stated, but it is an internet-based, which means they can do it everywhere, like from their house, cafe, mall, etc. Okay, the next point is P, which stands for population. Population is the target of the research. It is also not stated, but there's a phrase smoking cessation, so the participants might be smokers. Turning now to I, which stands for intervention. Intervention is a key element. It can be therapeutic or preventive way for the condition. The intervention highlighted with red. It is group-based or an internet-based smoking cessation program. Now, let's turn to C, which stands for condition. Condition is the clinical condition of the subjects. The condition is not stated, but probably it is people who smoke. Next point is E, which stands for endpoint. Endpoint refers to type of change the condition undergoes after being subjected to intervention. The endpoint in this title is smoking cessation. And the last point, it is D, which stands for design. Design is the study design to make the title complete. The design of this article is cluster randomized trial, which highlighted by yellow. That's all I have for the title identify using SPICE formula. Let's move on to the Consort checklist for abstract. As you can see from the table, it shows the checklist for the abstract. The first topic is title. Title is identification of the study as randomized. To help ensure that a study is appropriately indexed and identified as randomized, authors should state explicitly in the title that the participants were randomly assigned to their comparison groups. And here is the topic title. The next topic is authors. Authors mean as contact details for the corresponding author. The contact details are particularly important in conference proceedings. It can be telephone number, postal, and email address. And here is the topic authors. Turning now to trial design. Trial design is the description of the trial design. It should be described, for example, parallel group, cluster randomized, crossover, etc. In this abstract, the trial design is clustered randomized. Now, the next topic is methods. The methods divided into 6 points, which are participants, interventions, objective, outcome, randomization, and blinding or masking. First point is participants. Participants mean the eligibility criteria for participants and the settings where the data collected. Here, the participants highlighted by green, smokers, and in 4 municipalities in Copenhagen, Denmark. The next point is interventions. The essential features of the experimental and comparison interventions should be described. Here, the intervention is highlighted by purple. Turning on to the next points are objective and outcome, which not stated in the abstract. It doesn't describe the specific objective and primary outcome. Now, let's turn to randomization. It is important to conceal the allocation from the assigning participants to the intervention groups. It is stated that the participants are randomized into one of three groups. Here is the randomization. The last point for method is blinding, which is not stated too in the abstract. The next topic for the abstract is results, which contain numbers randomized, recruitment, numbers analyzed, and outcome. The 4 points of the results are not stated in the abstract because there's just the outcome in the result. Here is the outcome from the results, highlighted by yellow. Outcome describes the result for each group and estimated effect size and its precision. And the last topic that's stated in the abstract is conclusions. The conclusions of the trial consistent with the results reported in the abstract. It should be clearly stated. Meanwhile, the trial registration and the funding are not stated. Here is the conclusion. Okay, that's all for the abstract. Let's move on to the full text. The last identified is Consort checklist for full text. The first topic is title and abstract. Both of the items for this topic are stated. To help ensure that a study is indexed and easily identified, authors should use the word randomized in the title to indicate that the participants were randomly assigned to their comparison groups. And here is the item 1A. So, item 1A is stated. Clear, transparent, and sufficiently detailed abstracts are important because readers often use the abstract as a screening tool to decide whether to read the full article or not. And here is the point 1B. So, the item 1B is stated. Next topic is introduction. Both of the items for this topic are also stated. The introduction consists of free-flowing text in which authors explain the scientific background and rationale for their trial. Here is the item 2A. Here is the background. A recent study showed objectives are the questions that the trial was designed to answer. They often relate to particular therapeutic or preventive intervention. Here is the point 2B. So, both 2A and 2B are stated. Turning on to the next topic is methods. The methods have some points, which are trial design, participants, interventions, outcomes, sample size, and randomization, blinding, and also statistical methods. In the point trial design, the item that's stated is only the 3A. The word design is often used to refer to all aspects of how a trial is set up, but it also has a narrower interpretation. The example of designs are multi-arm parallel, crossover, cluster, and factorial designs. And here is the trial design. It says clusters. The next point is participants. Both of the items are stated. A comprehensive description of the eligibility criteria used to select the trial participants is needed to help readers interpret the study. And for this article, it is smokers. So, point 4A is stated. Here. Along with the eligibility criteria, information on the settings and locations is crucial to judge the trial. And for this article, the settings are in the suburb of Copenhagen, Denmark. And the 4 municipalities were chosen because they were geographically close to the research center for prevention and health. Moving on to the next point is interventions. Authors should describe each intervention, including how and when they were actually administered. For Group A, the intervention is group-based SC counseling. For Group B is internet-based SC program. And Group C is the control group, which doesn't have special program. The next point is outcome. In this point, the item that's stated is only the 6A. All RCTs assess response variables or outcome, for which groups are compared. All outcomes should be identified and completely defined. And here is the outcome per the article. Now let's turn to randomization. It has several subpoints. They are sequence generation, allocation, and implementation. From the sequence generation, only item 8A is stated. Participants should be assigned to comparison groups on the basis of a change process characterized by unpredictability. Authors should specify the method of sequence generation, such as random number table or a computerized random number generator. In this article, it is stated computer-generated list. Moving on to the last subtopic is implementation. Important to understand how the random sequence was implemented. Specifically, who generated the sequence, who enrolled participants, and who assigned participants to trial groups. Investigators are the ones who randomized the doctors and probably the smokers. Finally, the last point for methods is statistical methods. Only item 12A is stated for this topic. Data can be analyzed in many ways. It is essential to specify which procedure was used for each analysis. And here is the items for 12A. It contains procedure that was used for each analysis. Turning on to the next point is results, which have several points like participant flow, recruitment, baseline data, member analysis, outcomes and estimation, ancillary analysis, and harms. The first point is participant flow. Both of the items are stated, which is 13A and 13B. The design and conduct of some RCTs is straightforward, and the participants' flow for each groups are detailed. This point will be better if there's a diagram, and this article has it. So, item 13A is stated. Some protocol deviations may be reported in the flow diagram. For example, participants who did not meet eligibility criteria So item 13B is stated. The next point for results is baseline data. A table showing baseline demographic and clinical characteristics for each group. Although the eligibility criteria indicate who was eligible for the trial, it is also important to know the characteristics of the participants who were actually included. This information allows readers, especially clinicians, to judge how relevant the results of a trial might be to an individual patient. So, item 15 is stated. And here is the item 15. Next point is number analyzed. For each group, number of participants included in each analysis. The number of participants per group should be given for all analyses. So, item 16 is stated. And here is the item 16. And that's all for the topic results which stated in the article. The next topic of the checklist and also the article is discussion. It has several points such as limitations, generalizability, and interpretation. The first point is limitation. The discussion sections of scientific reports are often filled with rhetoric supporting the author's findings and provide little measured argument of the pros and cons of the study and its results. Authors should particularly avoid the common error of interpreting a non-significant results as indicating equivalence of interventions. Is the item 20, which is limitations. Next point for discussion is interpretation. Interpretation consistent with results, balancing benefits and harms, and considering other relevant evidence. A systematic review may help readers assess whether the results of the RT are similar to those of other trials in the same topic area and whether participants are similar across studies. It has this considering other relevant evidence. And that's all for the topic discussion, which stated in the article. The last topic of this checklist is other information, which has several points, such as registration, protocol, and funding. The only stated point for this topic is funding. Authors should report the sources of funding for the trial, as this is important information for readers assessing a trial. Studies have shown that research sponsored by the pharmaceutical industry are more likely to produce results favoring the product. Because this article was published on 2009, meanwhile the Consort that I used published a year later, which was 2010. So some checklists are not perfectly matched. So we have come to the end of the presentation. I have identified the title of the article using SPICED, Consort checklist for abstract, and also for the full text. Let me know if you have something to ask in the comment section down below. That's all from me. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.